Let's dive right into this explainer, because today we're unpacking a journey of just absolute physical extremity, chilling cold case mysteries, and some truly profound mythology. We're talking about the Nanda Devi Raj Jaat. This is an ancient, grueling pilgrimage up in the Indian Himalayas, and it is definitely not just a hike. It's an epic, thousand-year-old saga that perfectly blends intense religious devotion with the harsh, brutal reality of high-altitude survival.
Now you might be wondering, what on earth connects a bizarre animal guide, a forensic mass grave, and a massive, exhausting 280-kilometer trek into one single story? I mean, it sounds completely like fiction, right? But everything we're about to explore is 100% real. It's steeped in history, and it's still vividly alive today.
Okay, so 12. That's the crucial number here to help you grasp the sheer scale of this thing. The entire event revolves around a strict 12-year cycle. It's actually known as the Himalayan Mahakumbh. Because of the insane logistics, the unpredictable weather, and some really deep astrological significance, it literally only happens once every dozen years. We're talking about people waiting their entire lives just for the chance to participate.
To put that 280 kilometers into perspective, this trek stretches over 20 absolutely grueling days. You start out at Nadi village, which is at a relatively mild 1,500 meters, and from there you are basically just walking into the sky. By day 15, the path reaches Rupkhan Lake at over 5,000 meters. That's more than 16,500 feet. You're up in the bitter, incredibly thin, freezing air of the Himalayas. The physical toll this takes on the human body is just massive.
Section 1. The Four-Horned Guide.
So, before we get to the skeletons, and we will get to the skeletons, we have to meet the miraculous entity that actually leads this immense procession of tens of thousands of people. It's a rare four-horned sheep known as the Chausinia Kadu. According to the source texts, this sheep is only born after the local royal family, the Kunwars of Kanswa, make a formal pledge to actually conduct the journey. Locals even say a wild leopard lurks around the cowshed as an omen to signal its birth, which the royal priests then have to confirm. But honestly, the craziest part? This sheep naturally acts as the mountain guide. It inherently just seeks out the safest paths and desire lines in this incredibly treacherous terrain.
Right alongside this four-horned guide, you have the royal descendants and the Nautiyal Brahmins. They're escorting a very heavy mango wood palanquin, which carries the spiritual presence of goddess Nanda Devi herself, all sheltered by a specially crafted cane umbrella. The locals believe the goddess actually directs this palanquin. In fact, they say the palanquin becomes inexplicably heavy on the way up because she's reluctant to leave her maternal home and then gets lighter on the journey back down.
Moving on to Section 2. The Curse of Skeleton Lake.
All right, so high up at over 16,500 feet, there's a much darker chapter to this trek. The legend goes that an arrogant 9th century king named Josh the Vol completely disturbed the mountain's sacred peace. He basically treated this deeply spiritual pilgrimage like his own personal vanity parade, bringing dancers, musicians, luxuries, the whole shebang. Well, the myth says goddess Nanda Devi was absolutely enraged by this noise and arrogance in her silent domain, so she unleashed a localized apocalyptic hailstorm that wiped out the king, his pregnant queen, and their entire entourage in an instant.
For centuries, people just thought this was a frightening local fairy tale, just a spooky story you tell to keep pilgrims humble. But then, in 1942, this myth became a very chilling reality. A British forest ranger was out there and just stumbled upon a frozen lake surrounded by hundreds of human bones. The Himalayan ice had perfectly preserved an ancient mass grave, right in the exact spot where the legend said the king fell.
Which brings us to Section 3. Science meets Ancient Myth.
This is where the story gets absolutely mind-blowing, because modern forensics essentially blew this cold case wide open. The folklore claimed the goddess threw divine hailstones the size of cricket balls. Well, when scientists finally got their hands on those skulls, they found no sword marks, no disease, no signs of an avalanche. Instead, the forensics proved that these people died from blunt force trauma, specifically to the top of the head and shoulders. They were literally struck from above by massive, lethal alpine hail. The myth was fundamentally a true historical event.
And the archaeological evidence just keeps stacking up. Carbon dating traces these bones back to the 9th century, around 850 CE, which perfectly lines up with the timeline of King Jazdaval's actual reign. Plus, back in 1985, a youth expedition retraced this 280-kilometer route and found ancient 9th century iron arrows embedded deep inside tree trunks along the path. It just completely validates that this route has been a high-stakes, historically active journey for over 1,000 years.
Section 4. Daughters of the Himalayas.
So why do over 100,000 modern people still make this extreme trek today, fully knowing the dangers? Well, the emotional heartbeat of this whole thing lies in the Devyani. Nanda Devi is deeply revered as a daughter of the Himalayas who is returning to her husband, Lord Shiva. To honor that, there's this incredibly beautiful tradition where the outmarried daughters of the region, women who moved away to live with their husbands, are obligated to come back to their natal homes for the festival. The ritual is literally considered incomplete without them there.
Academic studies point out how this shared obligation acts as a massive unifying force for the entire hilly society. I mean, think about the pure logistics of moving tens of thousands of people through the high mountains. It requires just unbelievable cooperation. Every single household pitches in, sharing ingredients like milk, butter, and grain. It bridges divides across different castes, royal descendants, local priests, drummers. Everyone is united under this one massive communal effort.
But you know, this culture isn't just stuck in the past. It's actively evolving. Historically, the goddess was known for having non-vegetarian tastes, so the trek used to feature these pretty gruesome buffalo sacrifices. However, heavily influenced by social and Gandhian reforms over the years, the tradition has adapted. Today, they actually substitute the buffalo with symbolic vegetarian offerings, like breaking a coconut. It's a really great example of a living, breathing tradition that respects its ancient roots while adapting to modern sensibilities.
To really sum up the profound power of this trek, there's this fascinating academic observation. Think about it. The Himalayas are, at the end of the day, just rocks, ice, and extreme altitude. But human devotion, the sheer will of thousands of people walking 280 kilometers, sharing resources, bringing their daughters home, and blindly following a four-horned sheep, that actually shapes the geography itself. It's human action that turns a terrifying mountain pass into a genuinely sacred landscape.
So, I want to leave you with this thought. When you look at the sheer dedication required for the Nanda Devi Raj Jaat, the deep reverence for the harsh environment, the connection to ancient myth, the incredible uniting of communities, you kind of have to ask yourself, in our modern, fast-paced, highly digitized world, have we lost this capacity? Do we still have the ability to embark on unifying, sacred quests? Or have we just become totally disconnected from the raw mysteries of nature?